Welcome to my Asshole Podcast. Let's get into it. All right, today is Haunting Adeline Day. You know what it is, that every Thursday we do 2 chapters of Haunting Adeline. Today's chapters, I believe, are 28 and 29. Let me go ahead and double check that for you. Yes, 28 and 29. So, I went ahead and created a playlist for you guys for every Haunting Adeline episode from the beginning all the way up until now. I've created a Spotify playlist as well as a YouTube playlist. So if you're on YouTube, you can go to my playlist. I will have that playlist there for you guys. If you are an audio listener, don't worry. I got you. In the description, there will be a link that you can click on that. It'll take you right to the playlist, and you can see every Haunting Adeline episode from the beginning all the way till now. So if you jumped in, chapter 15, if you jumped in, chapter 18, if you jumped in chapter 25, wherever you jumped in, you can always go back. Check out the previous episodes. You don't have to scour through all of my episodes to try to find only the Haunting Adeline ones. If the Haunting Adeline ones are the ones that you are looking for, that playlist will be there for you. So that way you can check out every single Haunting Adeline episode from the beginning all the way to now. You can see what our characters have been up to. You can see how we got to where we got and all that good stuff. It'll be there for you in the link. I'm going to update all the episodes, so every single episode will have that link. That way, no matter what episode you're watching, no matter what point you're watching, it doesn't matter. It will be in the link. I do need to fix the Linktree link. I did not know that the Linktree link was not working for the longest time. Yeah, I've been telling you guys to use the Linktree link to get to my other social medias and all that kind of stuff. Found out it's not working. I have to get that fixed. I will have that fixed probably before this episode comes up, so that way you guys can use that link and it works and all that good stuff. But yeah, I'm just trying to work it all out, but I'm trying to make ease of access for you guys, so that way, you people who just love the Haunting Adeline episodes, you can see just those episodes. And you don't have to see all the fluff and stuff like that I have going on in the middle. Now, if you are enjoying the thread that we do before the Haunting Adeline episodes and you want to check out the other episodes, you totally can. That's totally fine. But for you people who are just there for the Haunting Adeline episodes and you scroll past the thread and you're just like, I'm just here for the Haunting Adeline, I got you. It's all good. It's all there for you. You can go from chapter 1 all the way to chapter 29, which is where we'll end today's episode. So if that's something you're interested in, I got you guys. And I should have did a playlist a long time ago. I don't know why I didn't. I just I'm too busy, consecrating and, working and all this kind of stuff. I never really thought about it. And I was like, oh yeah, you know what? People really love the Haunting Adeline episodes, but I tend to notice that you guys don't really watch all of them just because, you guys don't feel like scrolling through all of the episodes trying to find just the Haunting Adeline episodes. That's totally fine. I'm gonna make it easy for you guys. I have a playlist in there. It'll be linked down in the description. I will fix the Linktree link so that way you guys can use that link. If you're on YouTube, I'll have it on my page, and that way you guys can just watch those episodes. All right. So without further ado, let's get into our thread. We'll do announcements. We'll recap last week's episode of chapters 26 and 27, and then we will get into chapters 28 and 29. So our thread for today: DriveThru workers, what's the craziest thing that's happened to you at work? All right. So was in college and working a shitty burger drive-thru job where I got yelled at regularly by the boss, but I needed the job and was a small town, so jobs were hard to come by. Anyway, we were super busy and I was just taking order after order, handing out bags nonstop when a black Escalade with heavily tinted windows and rap music blasting pulled up to my window. I was ready to help some wannabe gangster with his order. The window rolls down and it's a little 80-plus-year-old white lady wearing an orange jumpsuit and matching visor. Tilted the hat to the side. What? She was super sweet and tipped me. So I don't know what the fuck that was all about, but she stuck with me. What the fuck? He hears the music. He's like, "Hi, welcome to Burger Spot. Can I take your order?" And all he hears in the background, "I'm a G-Rod, nigga. Oh my God, not me, right, nigga." And then it gets to the thing, and he's just like, "Oh, hello there." He's like, "Here you are. How much was it again?" He's like, "Wait, what the fuck?" And she's over here got a jumpsuit on with a sideways visor, like, "Thank you so much. I'm on G-Rod, nigga." Like, what the fuck? That is crazy. Oh, shit. Yeah, you guys get bonus points if you know where that song is from. All right, that the song I used, "I'm a G-Rod, nigga," that's from a movie. So double points if you know what that movie is. Worked at a popular Canadian coffee chain in my young days. Guy comes through the drive-thru at about 7 a.m. on a weekday, dressed in a suit. Nice car, obviously. On his way to work, he hands me a refillable mug, and I notice there's some liquid in it. No biggie. This happens occasionally. I figure I will just dump it out and give it a rinse. Right as I dump it into the sink, the smell hits me. At the same time, the customer who could see me through the window starts screaming his head off. His travel mug was half full of whiskey, which he planned on topping off with coffee, and I've just ruined his morning. So I start apologizing profusely, all while he's yelling at me, calling me an idiot, etc. And then hits me. Dude is in his car. He is driving. And I'm the idiot, so I say to him, "I'm pretty sure I did you a favor, sir. You must have forgotten there was alcohol in your mug. I wouldn't want you to have an accident. Did you want me to rinse this out before filling your coffee?" He didn't yell too much after that. I mean, facts, dude. You over here drinking and driving, nigga. What's wrong with you? Like, what the fuck? You know, I'm with the kid, man. Hey, I probably saved your life. What the fuck are you doing? Over here drinking and driving. Like, nigga, come on, man. I mean, and why would you put the alcohol into the coffee first and then think that they're just going to put alcohol, they're going to put coffee in there? No, they're going to rinse it out and be like, "Oh, dang, he probably left this in there by accident. You know, let me clean it out for you. I got you, fam." You know, like, you going to get mad at me for that? Like, man, you know, fuck you, bro. You know, I say he saved his life, definitely. The fryer, which was right next to the drive-thru, caught on fire because no one was cleaning it correctly. While the fryer was on fire, one of my coworkers tried 2 different red fire extinguishers, but neither was functional. Customers were standing there filming this on their phones. Then my manager, who was in charge of us, picked up a bucket of water and prepared to throw it on the grease fire. I snatched the silver grease fire extinguisher off the wall, put out the fire before she could kill us all. Also, a customer once asked me to praise a fish she just bought from the pet store, asking me how much I thought it was worth. What the fuck? I mean, first off, it's a grease fire, guys. All right, water ain't gonna do much. You know what I mean? Like, bro, that's not gonna do much. It's a grease fire. You know, they have specific fire extinguishers for grease fires. Usually, it's like they're on the back of the fryer. Usually, they're under the fryer, something like that. I would know because back when I worked, you know, in retail, when I worked for Stater Brothers, as you guys know. And for you guys that don't know, yes, I used to work at Stater Brothers and fucking hate that place, but it is what it is. And so when we used to have this service, it was called like frying fish and shit like that. Fucking hated it. But, they would teach us how to use a grease fire extinguisher, because the grease fire extinguisher was different than the actual fire extinguisher, because there's a fire extinguisher that has certain chemicals in it, and then there's a grease fire extinguisher that had different chemicals in it. And they always told you, do not throw water onto a grease fire, because if you throw water onto a grease fire, it can allow the fire to spread. How? I have no fucking clue. But that's just how it works. And so, yeah. Good thing he said, no. Hold up, girl. Hold your bucket. I got this. And I bet the guy that's like just in his car, he's like, what the fuck is going on over there? Yo, is my food ready? Like, because that's what I'd be wondering. I'd be like, look, man, this fire is y'all problem, but where's my food at? Like, I'm hungry in this bitch. What the fuck are we going? Man, goddamn. Back in college, I was traveling with my team for a flight competition, flew a bunch of small single-engine Cinesis, from New York to Ohio, and had no car since we got there. For some reason, we were staying in a high-crime area and didn't realize every single fast food restaurant would be closed by 7 p.m. We were denied at every single drive-thru. We were tired, starving, and almost lost hope when we walked up to a Popeyes, and the guy inside the window said he couldn't serve us because he'd get fired, but he could climb inside his car and use it to get food from his window. My friend walked up to his piece of shit car tucked in the corner a few times till it squeaked open. Wasn't even locked. This nigga, he said, who needs locks? You just gotta give it jiggle the handle a little bit. There it goes. Like, what the fuck? And the keys were just sitting in the ignition. Wow. Okay. Drove the worker's car through the drive-thru, ordered all of us food, and parked the car back in the spot. That was the sketchiest, funniest thing I've ever been part of. We left the guy a tip in his cup holder for his kindness. Hey, I mean, they probably looked at that Popeyes like, oh, and homeboy was like, oh, look, man, I got you. I got something to do for it. Hey, at least he helped you guys out. I mean, even though it was kind of sketchy, and for some reason he left his keys in the ignition. He was like, oh, yeah, my car's out back. Just jiggle the handle a little bit. It'll prop open. And then, the keys are in there. I got you. You go through the drive-thru. I got you. Don't worry about it. And she's just like, okay, sure. Like, what the fuck? Worked at a Daylight Donuts about 15 years ago. Our drive-thru opened at 4 a.m. One morning, this guy comes through and drive-thru and orders 2 coffees and a dozen mixed. He has a poodle sitting on his lap, which he is petting. After I passed the coffees and donuts through the window, I asked him if he needs any creamer, and he says, babe, do you need any creamer? At which point his girlfriend looks up and says, yep. Turns out that wasn't a poodle in his lap. Yo. Oh shit. His girlfriend had curly black hair, and she had her face in his lap because she was sucking his mushroom tip. I mean, when you got it like that, you got it like that. Hey, man, whatever, bro. Yeah, damn, okay. Cool then, bro, cool then. Okay, so I worked at McDonald's. I knew we would get a McDonald's guy in here. I knew eventually. Okay. So I worked at McDonald's in the drive-thru for 40 hours a week one summer. So I have a lot of stories, but this one by far takes the cake. So sometime during the evening, this guy orders 3 McChicken sandwiches. Fine. These things are small, so that's a reasonable amount of food. He pays, he gets his food, goes on his way. Everything is fine. Later that night, we get a phone call. Phone calls are a little uncommon, but not too out of the norm. Manager sounds super confused the whole time, then calls me in the back. So this lady called him and chews him the fuck out because some bitch ass kid charged her husband 3 times for one sandwich. Better yet, somehow they used my name. Like they somehow remembered my name from my name tag. The manager tells me what happened. We both realize that there is no possible way to charge someone 3 times for one item and have a good laugh about it because some guy pigged out on 3 sandwiches, lied to his wife about it, and she believes him and calls to complain. So this nigga bought 3 sandwiches, he ate 2 of them, and then had 1 left and was like, oh babe, nah, I only bought 1, I swear to God. You only bought 1? Oh fuck no, give me that. Hello, why the fuck did you charge my husband 3 times for only 1 sandwich? And they looking at this bitch like, what? Nah, that nigga ordered 3 sandwiches and I charged him for 3 sandwiches. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. She told him she'd be in later that night, so the manager sent me home early so I don't get shit or something because suburban moms can be cray-cray. I go in to work the next day and everyone is huddled around one of the employees who has her phone out and is on Facebook. After my manager explained to this woman what actually happened, she went to the neighborhood Facebook page and ranted about me using my real name, telling everyone to avoid this McDonald's. What? I can't remember exactly what the post said, but it was pretty bad. What the fuck? She went on Facebook and was just like, my husband ordered 1 chicken sandwich and they charged him for 3 chicken sandwiches. How dare they? I can't believe this one kid, insert name, did this to her. That is highway robbery and he should be fired and everyone there should die and go somewhere. Like, bro, what the fuck? Like, has it ever occurred to you that maybe your husband, actually bought 3 fucking chicken sandwiches? I wish that he told us what the manager actually told her, because she said she was going to the store and that's why he left early. But did he come in the next day and did he ask, like, yo, what did she say? Because I would love to hear what the manager told the customer, because this happens a lot of time. Like, even when I was in retail, there's like something we can't do, or there's something we don't have, whatever the case may be, and you tell the customer that, and then they're like, I want a manager, blah 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 blah, and then the manager comes and the manager says the exact fucking same thing that I said to you, and then they're like, okay, well, I guess not. And I'm just like, nigga, so I wonder if did the manager do that? Did the manager be like, no, sweetheart, he bought 3 chicken sandwiches. We gave him 3 chicken sandwiches because he paid for 3 chicken sandwiches. He ate 2 and told you he only bought 1. That's the way that actually went, because we can't charge for, a 1 item 3 times, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. Now, was it a thing that the manager told him the truth and then she just was like, no, I'm going to go to Facebook and they're going to tell me that I'm right and da-da-da? Or was it a thing where, he just was like, get the fuck out of here? I would love to know what the manager said, man. That is what's missing from the story. But that is a funny fucking story, man. Golly. All right. Let's see. On to our next one. Oh shit, another McDonald's story. Guy got stabbed outside of a McDonald's I worked at in some sort of online sale going wrong. Comes inside, asks to use the phone, calls 911, then sits there quietly waiting for the ambulance to arrive. None of us could believe it because the McDonald's was in a really good neighborhood. Also, an old guy dropped dead in the parking lot. Holy shit, bro. I don't think your McDonald's is in a good neighborhood, bro. There be some low-key crime in this neighborhood, bro, because, man, and the McDonald's must be like the epicenter of it. They're just like, hey, yo, we ain't settling this anywhere. We gonna go to the McDonald's, my nigga. That's where we gonna settle this shit, like, what the fuck? I mean, the old man, damn near dying in the parking lot, that's just coincidence, but the fact that a dude got stabbed and then was like, can you call 911? And then he's sitting there bleeding out in a McDonald's chair. I'd be like, You want a soda or something? Like, bro, I couldn't just let the man just bleed out there. You know what I mean? Like, bro, you need some water or something? Like, you good? Because, yeah, like, what if this guy passes out? Then what the fuck do I do, you know? Like, god damn. I had this drunk couple come through, and the girl looked at me completely wasted and told me that I should smile more and let the boy bring me down. Okay, I should smile more and not let any boy bring me down. So they went to the next window and I went to the back to mop a little. Over my headset, my manager asked if I just saw what happened. Apparently between the windows, something happened and the girl called the guy with her a pussy and threw a tea at her and kicked her out of the car. She came in crying and called her friend. 10 minutes later, he came back and picked her up. Nigga, what? You must have gave her the worst advice of her life. Oh, he false empowered this girl, man. Like he was on the headset. Oh, girl, don't let that boy get you down. You all good. Don't worry about it. All right, I'll see you at the next window. Takes his shit off, doing some mopping, and then out of nowhere, the manager's just like, yo, what the fuck is going on here? And then she comes in talking about she got the dude kicked her out of the car and all that. Like, yo, you gave her the worst advice ever, bro. Damn, man. This nigga said you should smile more. Oh man, worst advice he's ever given. That motherfucker's like, I'm never giving life advice ever again. Stick to mopping, bro. God damn. I worked at a Starbucks on the border of wannabe rich boy rancher town. We'll call it rodeo town, and the foothills up in the surrounding national parks. Because of our proximity to the highway that goes through the middle of town, we got local cops that would chill out in our lot. They'd come in, chug quad lattes, okay, shoot the shit, and hang out till they got a call. A car full of dudes comes through comes to the drive-thru. I don't know why I said it that way. And asks for 4 venti waters. We quit giving out waters without purchase in Drive because we were right next to a location of a local gym chain. Drive-thru guy B is super polite and tells them we can't swing it. It's a new policy, but if they come inside, we can hook them up. They cuss at him, peel out of the driveway, and tear off. We shrug like whatever. We're used to rich little shitheads racing the sports cars and SUVs their dads bought them up our driveway to buy frappuccinos to wash down the fistful of pills. Typical Friday night shenanigans we were at. Meanwhile, our 2 regular cops come rolling in. We get them their quad lattes, crack jokes with Kirk, the dude cop, fighting over who gets to make eyes at the girl cop, and they go to chill out. Ding, another car drives through. It's the same carload of assholes who asked for water. They pull up around and wait till B opens the window, inform him that McDonald's gave them free extra large waters at the window, and proceed to try whanging the thing through the window. So he tried throwing it. Okay. I don't know what whanging is, but sure, nigga. All right. The thing through the drive-thru at B. Sadly for them, the kid has great reflexes, and he slammed big the close, or yeah, why does he say this weird? He hit the button so the fucking drive-thru window closes. Man, he says, slam the big fat close button. Like, what? What does that mean? The cup hits the window and splashes almost entirely back at the asshole driving. B dips back and this exchange happens. Kirk and Hot Cop, what just happened? B, that dude just threw his cup at me. That's attempted assault. Attempted assault, he says in a way that sounds like he's savoring the flavor of it, like he just ate a fantastic truffle. Cue Looney Tunes sound effects as they both bust from their seats through the front door and their cruisers. The guy in Drive goes roaring out, and no less than 20 seconds later, he has two of Rodeo Town PD's finest, full lights up and sirens chasing behind him just to absolutely fuck up his little friend's night. Damn, son. They threw the water at him. And now they're getting attempted assault charges. Like, you fucked with the wrong fucking Starbucks baristas. Like, man, now you got to deal with that shit. That sucks, dude. Hey, but they got what they deserved. You know what I mean? I don't think I could ever work in like a rich area, man. God, ugh. Oh man, one dude in the back seat was watching porn. Didn't pause it or silence it at the window, just casually watching porn in the back seat while getting a burger. Not sure how I kept a straight face for that one. Another guy yelled at me, calling me a communist because he wanted more than 20 ketchup packets for one small fry. Nigga, what do you need all that ketchup for? What the hell? And why would he call you a communist? What the heck? He's like, oh, you goddamn communist, you holding out on the ketchup. Like, nigga, I gotta have ketchup for everybody. You know, like, you ain't, how much ketchup do you need? It's a small fry. Oh my God. Like, nigga, like four packets should be fine enough. Like, come on, man. I told him I would need to charge him for more than a handful. Apparently free-flowing ketchup is the American way, and he needed to yell it at me. I got preached at a few times if it was a Sunday morning, full on grabbed by the waist, prayed over my sins, and given a Bible. Gotta love church people who think it's terrible you're not in church on Sunday, but have no qualms using your services. Worked fast food throughout college in a shit town, so I got plenty of stories. Man, and look, I grew up in like a heavy church environment and stuff like that. And if I'm being honest with you, man, church people are low-key the worst. I ain't gonna lie to you. When it comes to like retail and all that kind of stuff, man, they would be like, oh, like you devil lover and all this shit. I got it all. Like, when, you know, like I said, as you guys know, or if you may not know, I used to work at Stater Brothers. I used to work in the meat department, and you know, there would be sometimes that we wouldn't have a certain item, or there were sometimes we couldn't do a certain thing, or, you know, I would do the thing and then they didn't like the way I did it, whatever the case may be. And on Sundays especially, because I would always work like it'd be like 10 to 7. So it'd be like kind of a late morning to like, an early evening. And so, you know, we'd get around 1 to 2 o'clock when we get all the church people in, because, you know, they're getting off church, whatever the case may be, because they would usually do church from like 6 to 10, or they do church from like 8 to 12. So, you know, we're getting in a heavy rush of church people. And all the time, whenever you couldn't do something, they're just like, oh man, see, this is why you need Jesus. And I'm just like, yo, look, man, if you want to believe in God and Jesus and all that, that's fine. But just because I can't do something for you, don't mean that I'm sinning and I'm like the worst person on earth. Like, come on, bro. You know, that's why it's just, it made me feel like, dude, you know, people just be using the excuse of Jesus and God and in just the craziest ways. It's like, man, I'm not a bad person just because I can't do something for you. You know, it's like, come on, man. Come on. It's, to me, it just seems very hypocritical, being honest with you. You know, because you're over here taking advantage of my services. You can do this at home. You know that, right? You know what I mean? Like, I can just give you the stuff and you can go do it at home, but you don't want to do it at home. You want me to do it. And it's like, oh, okay, well, then I'll do it. But then they don't like the way you do it. And it's like, okay, well, I'm sorry you don't like the way I do it, but it don't make Jesus want to smite me down or something. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. I don't know. I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. And, you know. All right, on to our next one. One time a dude in a chicken suit popped out of a car trunk, walked up to the window and paid, got his food and drink, and hopped back into the trunk of the car and drove off. What? I worked at a Chick-fil-A, and it was the dress like a cow day, where you get a free sandwich if you dress like a cow. So I'd been seeing people in costumes all day, and it was really desensitized to it. Plus, it was super busy, and I was several hours into overtime, and I was just exhausted. The people in the car were obviously looking for a reaction, but I honestly just didn't have it in me that day. And I think I really disappointed them because they pulled up in their car trying not to laugh. But when they left, it was like my blank emotionless face sucked the joy out of the car. But it was honestly some of the funniest shit I've ever seen. The moment they drove off, I realized the ridiculousness of the situation, and me and my two coworkers in the drive-thru all started laughing hysterically. That is kind of weird. They like, dude just hops out the fucking thing in a chicken costume, and he's just like, here you go. All right, cool, thanks, man. And gets back in the trunk like nothing. I'd be like, I mean, even if I was tired and on overtime, I would literally be just like, oh, did I just see that? I'd be like, boss, I got to go home. Because I swear to God, I just saw a chicken man get out of the trunk of a car. I need to go home. I am overworked. I'm hallucinating. Because there's no way that just happened. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be like, look, man, I'm on overtime. I got to go home. That would be my cue to go home. I'd be like, look, man, do whatever you got to do, but I got to go home. I'm hallucinating now because there's no way I actually saw a chicken man get out of the trunk of a car and fucking pay for the food, get the food, and then get back into the trunk. There's no fucking way. I am hallucinating at this point. You know, I just would not be able to believe it. I would be able to comprehend it, especially if I was that overworked and I'm on overtime and shit like that, and I'm just tired and want to go home. I would be like, yeah, I'm hallucinating. I went crazy. I'd go home and just be like, did I fucking really see a chicken man get out of the fucking trunk of a car? You know? Like, dude. All right, on to the next one. This was back when I was still in high school, but worked as a fast food place in a small town on Puget Sound. Okay. Very big fish community, but not much is open after 9. Anyway, restaurant is closed, but drive-thru is still open. It's about 10:30 and my mic goes off. I put in the order. It was huge. And when they come around to pay, these 3 guys, no car, turns out they just got off a boat that had been up near Alaska for about a week. They took a break from unloading to get food for the crew, and it was weird, but hey, my parents raised me right, and I wasn't going to deny them food, so I completed the order. They go to the next window, pick up, and my manager is pissed. He gives them a lecture about how drive-thrus are for cars, refusing to give them their food, and then he sees me and starts screaming at me for being an idiot. The guy back at the grill has enough, angrily comes out and puts the bags together and walks outside to give the guys their food. Manager threatens to fire us both after they left. I was 18, didn't need the job, but I hate being yelled at. Cried all the way home and was dead set on quitting when another manager called me the next day to ask if I was okay, then told me they were letting asshole manager go. The drive-thru drama for sure. Like, bro, who cares? Like, they just wanted their food. Like, my biggest thing is me and the chef are doing our job. You know, like, why am I going to deny a paying customer? Their money's good. I don't give a fuck if they have a car or not. Their money is good. You know, like, come on, man. That's ridiculous. Why are you going to turn down a customer just because they don't have a car? That's the dumbest shit ever. Like, come on, man. Really? You know? Fucking retarded, dude. That is just, oh, yeah. Sometimes managers make no sense. It's just stupid. But that's going to go ahead and end that thread. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. That one was juicy. That one was kind of funny. I ain't going to lie to you. That one was good. Oh, man. Okay, I'm going to make announcements super duper short. That way we can get into Haunting Adeline. And patreon.com/My Asshole Podcast. Get on there. $3 a month. Get you an exclusive episode to an exclusive episode every single Friday. God, I'm so sorry. My mind is running all over the place. Get your exclusive episode every single Friday, as well as being able to send in your scenarios to be featured on the Tuesday as well as Sunday shows. TikTok as well as Instagram. Get on there for the short bite-sized pieces of the shows. Instagram will have different scenarios on there than TikTok will. Some scenarios I upload are clips I upload to TikTok, and TikTok doesn't like it. They'll remove the sound, or they won't push it out to the For You page, or whatever the case may be. So then I have to remove it, and it can only be on Instagram. So that has been the confusion. I talked about it on Tuesdays, so if you saw Tuesday's episode, you kind of know more of detail what's going on with that. YouTube, get on there, subscribe, help us out over there. Even if you don't watch over there, subscribing does help. I'm going to fix the Linktree link so you guys can actually use the Linktree link to get to the YouTube, as well as TikTok, as well as Instagram, all that kind of stuff. I'll fix it there. The Haunting Adeline playlist will have its own link, so that way, you know, you guys could do that. But it is in the Linktree as well, so you can click that and then go there and stuff like that. So, if you're an audio listener, go ahead and keep downloading, as well as rating the podcast. There you go. Rate the podcast, download it. Okay, announcements out of the way. Last week on Haunting Adeline, we pretty much got a big story dump, which was great. I was enjoying it a lot because we pretty much learned a little more about Zayd and the people he's after and their little ring of, like, you know, pedos and all that kind of stuff. And then Adeline got a little more information about what these guys know about Gigi's murder and the people, the guy that, you know, she was kind of messing around with. And so, and then in chapter 27, Adeline is actually talking to her mom, and her mom is just like, oh, it's such a waste of time. Why are you even caring about Gigi's thing? You should be getting married and all this kind of stuff and having kids and blah, blah, blah. And she's just like, I ain't really about all that shit. You know, let me do what I want to do. And of course, you know, she's still trying to get her to move out of Parsons Manor, but she's like, I ain't about that shit. Like, you know, I want to stay in Parsons Manor, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But that was kind of where we left off with that. Not too much happened in that chapter 27, but 26 is where we got like kind of the most of it. So now we're going to be on chapter 28 and 29. So we will get that started right now. Give me one moment. Go here.
Chapter 28.
All right.
The Shadow. Fucking imbeciles, man. It blows my mind how sick in the head these men are. I arrived here just in time to see Mark eyeing up a doll eating a sandwich while his wife, Claire, sits right next to him and watches him eye fuck a young girl. She doesn't look the least bit jealous, but incredibly concerned for the girl dressed up as a broken doll. It takes all my strength not to charge up to him and smash his head into that wooden bench until nothing remains but brain matter and bone. But I stay in the shadows, keeping one eye on Mark and the other on the crowd, looking for my little mouse. She's going to be a distraction tonight, and that could cost me. I roll my neck and blow out a breath. Addie running into Mark is a slim possibility, but not impossible. If she stays far away from them, then she should be safe to have a fun time. Mark and his partners came here with the intention of stealing a child or two, though they'd never do the dirty work themselves. They're public figures and would never risk being caught. Notably, none of the men have their kids, which proves they came here with a plan and didn't want the hindrance. They'll be here under the guise of spending time with their wives and nothing more. But I'll bet my left nut he takes pictures and sicks a lackey on whoever he deems appetizing. My goal tonight is to prevent any kidnapping attempts from being successful. I have several men on standby stationed all throughout the fair, keeping an eye on each of Mark's business partners, whoever they target, and any other suspicious activity. And it looks like Mark may have found his first target. The broken doll is in a staring contest with Mark, exchanging smiles like an addict and their dealer. She's not a child by any means, but she's still young enough to sell into the skin trade. I got eyes on Mark, I inform. Jay and the other mercenaries will be able to hear me through the earpiece fitted snugly in my ear. Keeping a safe distance, I maneuver around passing bodies to get a better view of the doll's face. The creepy-ass smile warping her lips speaks of a challenge far more than words ever could. Daring him to come after her. Based on the glimmer in her eyes, it feels deeper than just performing for her job. Claire is still staring at the girl too, but fear is radiating from her pores as brightly as the blush painted on her hollow cheeks. Mark doesn't notice, but it seems the doll does. The latter hops off the bench, winks at Mark, and skips off towards a haunted dollhouse. Mark's eyes follow her the entire way, his gaze pinned to her ass and tongue swiping at his crusty lips. And then he's sliding his phone out of his pocket and making a call. My eyes thin, splitting my attention between Mark and the doll that disappeared inside Annie's playhouse. He stays on the phone for all of a minute before he's hanging up and turning to Claire. His wife nods imperceptibly, just a single dip of her chin. What Claire has knowledge of is a mystery to me. Mark may hide most of his dealings, but I imagine she's not completely ignorant to how her husband spends his free time. The haunted house has come to life almost immediately after. Flickering lights blare from the windows, and eerie music fills the air, mingling with the startled screams from guests. The colorful smoke that's been drifting across the open field now clouds the inside of the houses. Hordes of people start drifting towards the creepy structures, forming lines outside the still locked doors. Mark clenches Claire's arm and drags her up from the bench, speed-walking directly towards Annie's playhouse. And emerging from the bustling crowd behind Mark are his colleagues, Jack, Brad, and Robert. Well, I'll be fucking damned. I got eyes on all four, I say quietly. Location? Jay asks, keyboard clicking in the background. Whoever owns this park doesn't believe in safety. No cameras exist around the entire field, forcing Jay to use a small drone that hovers above the carnival. It won't be able to go into any of the houses undetected, but it will be able to capture any kidnapping attempts. Annie's playhouse. Let us know if you need us, one of the men, Baron, says. His deep, baritone voice is easy to pick apart from the others. I open my mouth, ready to respond, but then I see a flash of cinnamon hair already in line for Annie's playhouse. Fuck me with a pogo stick. The broken doll must be conspiring with God because only divine fucking intervention would bring all of them together like this. The minute I see Mark tap Addie's shoulder while they stand in line, my entire stomach bottoms out. He and his colleagues happened to be standing right behind her, and it took less than 5 seconds for Mark's eyes to land on Addie and Daya's ass. It took more effort to drag his eyes up to their faces and recognize who was standing before him. Addie turns, and surprise flitters across her face, followed by a forced smile and an enthusiastic display, despite finding the fucking crypt keeper standing behind her. Daya looks Mark up and down, an unimpressed glint in her eyes, despite the polite smile curling her lips. I watch them talk for a few minutes. Mark, his usual boisterous self, as he introduces her to his colleagues. Even now, I know Addie well enough to know there's beads of sweat gathering along her hairline. I'm sure Mark has asked where I am, and I'm only curious to know what her response is. The whole interaction makes my skin tight, and I'm gearing up to storm over there. I was trying to give Addie space tonight, but that's no longer an option. Now that 4 predators are about to enter into a house with her, there's a high possibility Addie and her friend will never make it home. If I wasn't here, of course. Mark may like me, but he doesn't respect me. Not more than the society, at least. And his buddies aren't going to even consider me when they're ushering 2 beautiful girls into a nondescript van. The only thing on their minds will be pussy and dollar signs. I beeline towards Mark, barreling through a guy that looks like he roasts in a tanning bed like it's the fountain of youth. Doesn't make sense, but clearly the kid doesn't possess any if he's pointedly standing in my way and refuses to move after he sees me coming. Exactly why he ends up on his ass, curses following me as I continue on my path. Just as I approach, Addie and Daya are ushered into the house, leaving Mark and his friends behind. The houses have an occupation limit to prevent the cramped space from becoming too congested, especially with people running like their life depends on it. "Mark," I greet, loudly, a smile stretched across my face. I can feel my scars tightening from how hard I'm forcing it, but the old man is too self-absorbed to notice. Mark looks startled as he turns to me, but just like Addie, a strange smile stretches across his face. "Zach, you made it! I just saw Addie go in with her pretty friend. She said you went off to find a bathroom." Smart little mouse. She left it open to the possibility that I'm around somewhere and could show up any minute. Fucking love that girl. I flash my teeth again. "Yeah, I just found a quiet spot real quick," I say, pointing over my shoulder lazily. "Ah, being a man is God's gift," he laughs, slapping my arm. "You've met my colleagues here." I exchange quick pleasantries, but I shift, wearing my impatience on my sleeve. The employee opened the door and is waiting for me to enter. "Mind if I cut ahead? I want to catch up." Mark swoops his hand forward, gesturing for me to go ahead, his lips tightened into a thin line. Someone shouts behind me, noticing that I cut in line. Mark's placations are cut off by the slam of the door. Walking into this house feels like stepping into another dimension that demons inhabit. My skin prickles as I look around the pink monstrosity. "What in the actual hell?" I mutter under my breath, momentarily distracted by the eyesore this house is. If Addie and I have a daughter, I hope she has some goddamn sense and prefers black. It feels like my eyeballs are physically cringing from all the pink. Did Barney come in here and shit everywhere? Jesus fucking Christ. Addie's light brown hair flashes in my peripheral. Just as my eyes slide to her, she's disappearing behind a corner, getting chased by a monster. Their screams fill up the smoky atmosphere, bringing a smirk to my face. It's a good taste of what I'm going to make her sound like later. My feet work on autopilot, trailing after her. I hear the door open again, followed by Mark and his friends' voices. I'll be sure to keep a firm barrier between my girl and the dipshits behind me. Addie and Dea will have fun, undisturbed by the real monsters in the house. It's when they scramble up the stairs, a laughing heap of limbs and screams, I lose sight of them. I run up the stairs, hearing their screams from behind the first door. I study the hallway system. There are too many doors in this hallway, making it physically impossible for this many rooms. Some of them are false doors, which means they could end up in any one of these rooms when they come out the other side. They might not even come back out in the hallway at all if the rooms connect on the inside. Sighing, I make my way down the hallway, intent on peeking in a few rooms and finding the best place to camp. Singing erupts moments later, and I freeze from the ice-cold chills traveling down my spine, the hair on the back of my neck rising. It could be a part of the haunted house experience, but something niggles at the back of my mind, warning me of incoming danger. Not shit I can do about it until someone comes out swinging. Ignoring the singing, I forge on. There should be an exit sign hanging over one of the doors in the case of a fire, so guests know where to evacuate. I suspect it'll be in one of the back rooms. I can camp out in the room opposite, which will allow me to keep an eye on the hallway, and I'll know exactly when Addie leaves. When I enter the room on the left, I sweep my eyes across the small area, looking for the exit. In tandem, I feel a presence come up behind me, one that doesn't want to invite me to their tea party anytime soon. While mechanical mannequins burst from an armoire and a closet, my heart stalls in my chest, but I stay calm as I turn towards the malicious presence at my back. The last thing I expect to see is the broken doll from earlier, the one taunting Mark. Her brown hair is pulled up in pigtails, with pink bows wrapped around them. Dull brown eyes stare at me, intent shining brightly behind the makeup on her face. Up close, she's a lot creepier than I had expected. Probably because the look in her eyes is murderous. I glance down, taking quick inventory of her. She's wearing a thin white nightgown, leaving little to the imagination. I barely notice her nipples poking through the thin fabric. No, what my eyes lock in on is the outline of a knife strapped to her thigh. My blood chills. If this bitch tries to hurt my little mouse... Where are they? I ask, keeping calm. I'm waiting to see confusion bloom on her face, followed by a question on who I'm talking about. But she doesn't give me that sense of security. She seems to know exactly who I'm talking about.
Safe from you.
She snips. Then she turns her head to the side, staring at the wall.
Let the others know 2 women are being followed and make sure they get away safely. I have this handled.
I can't help the smirk that tips up the corners of my mouth. While part of me is tripped up on who she's talking to, I'm mostly amused that she thinks she can handle me. Her eyes track something that I can't see, as if she's watching them leave. So, you're crazy, huh? She rears back, offended by my assessment. Frankly, I couldn't give a less of a shit. Anxiousness is curdling in my stomach like spoiled milk. Addie and Dia still haven't stumbled their way to the back of the hallway yet, and this little girl must think I'm like Mark and here to hurt them. And well, she's not entirely wrong. Except I'm only interested in hurting one of them, and by the time I'm done, she'll love the way I make her scream. She snaps.
Don't call me that. You're the one preying on women.
I arch brow, on the verge of laughing in her face. That just makes me disturbed, not crazy. Her tiny hands ball into tight fists, and a snarl pulls her face taut with anger. The doll lifts her nightgown far enough to bring out the knife and kicks the door shut behind her. I can't tell if I should laugh or rage. She's deliberately keeping me from my little mouse, and that makes me very fucking unhappy. What are you going to do with that, Dolly? I ask, a mocking smirk on my face. This should be over quickly.
I'm going to kill you, monster.
I don't have time for this shit. The longer I'm trapped in a room with Chucky's bride, the more opportunity handed over to Mark. If the men notice I'm nowhere to be found, and Addie is left vulnerable, nothing will stop them from seizing the moment. She's more interested in talking, and time is ticking. I charge at her, but I'm surprised by how much fight she has in her. I humor her, the sloppy attacks beginning with a knife and ending with her fists. The entire time she rages like a petulant child, throwing a fit because she can't land a strike. I see the desperation leaking into her expression, just as antsy to take me down as I am her. Finally, I land one good sucker punch to her nose, causing her to lose her footing and go crashing to the ground. She screeches out some idle threat, but my focus is on the door. I storm past her, whipping out the door and charging down the hall.
Jackal!
She screeches from behind me, but I pay her no mind. I don't know who the hell she's talking to, but I don't give a fuck. I stop short when I look to my left and see the 4 men of the night packed into a room. I breathe out a sigh of relief, a small weight lifting off my shoulders, with the confirmation that they didn't get the chance to trap Addie. Until I hear the words that come out of their fucking mouths. "Where does she go?" Brad asks, staring at Mark. "The van is already set to go. They just need to know their location." I snap straight, and my body stiffens like cement being injected into my spinal cord. "We'll find them," Mark placates. "Zach wasn't with them, so he must have lost them in the chaos. It's the perfect time." "You do realize you're going to have to handle him, right, when he finds out Addie is gone?" Robert cuts in. "With those nasty scars on his face, I have a feeling you're underestimating him." Mark waves a hand, dismissing Robert's concerns, his very fucking valid concerns. "He got those scars because he was weak, Robert." I laugh silently, my head thrown back and shoulders shaking as I let his very ill-minded assumption wash through me. And then my laugh bleeds out, rocketing through the small space and blending with the other creepy noises pinging around this house. The 4 men's heads snap towards me and bleed dry of whatever color was left in their faces. The 4 of them are sweaty and look like they have watched their worst nightmares come to life. They'll soon realize that I sit on the fucking throne and their nightmares bow to me. I'm far worse than any monster they could ever imagine. I walk into the room, the grin on my face widening when they flinch away. "Sit," Mark starts. "You know how old these scars are, Mark? Very old. My opponent was a formidable one. But do you want to know who ended up on the floor with their throats slashed and holes where their eyeballs used to be? Certainly wasn't me, fucker. Mark tries to brush off my story with a laugh, the sound choked and broken. Zach, please, we weren't speaking of your girlfriend. Mark, the last thing you want to do is lie to me. Just as Mark opens his mouth, a little door in the room springs open and out crawls the biggest fucking nuisance of the night. For the love of God, please leave me alone, I snap. Mark and his friends turn to find the doll straightening, a determined gleam in her eye. Her face brightens.
God has nothing to do with this, silly. Chapter 29. The Manipulator. I think if I don't go sit the fuck down, I'm going to collapse. You'll have to peel me out of this mud. I point towards a bench. Go ahead and relax. I'm going to go through the House of Mirrors real quick. Fine by me. It'll take you forever to get out of that thing, and it'll be time to go. The House of Mirrors has always been one of my favorite places. It's an elaborate maze of mirrors and very difficult to find your way out of. It's one of the biggest buildings at the fair, and they fill every inch of it with mirrors. The fair will close in about a half hour. It's pushing it, but it should be just enough time to get through it if I concentrate. The house is painted all black, no array of colors, flashing of lights or smoke. I've always thought it was trippier like this. Sometimes it feels like being in a silent room, left with nothing but your thoughts as your own image haunts you. It takes all of 5 minutes before I'm thoroughly lost. I keep my hands held out before me, preventing me from running face first into one of the mirrors. I did that a couple of years ago, and my nose was bruised for a week. A few minutes pass by with nothing but the company of my own reflection. My heart rate is pumping erratically, my breathing uneven with excitement. Despite the pounding in my chest, this is where I feel most normal. Off in the distance, I hear a faint shuffling of feet. Not very many people come in here, especially this late, but there's plenty of people who like to take on the challenge. Continuing on my wayward path, I concentrate on where I'm going, soon forgetting about anything else going on around me. The trick is to focus on the floor and not your reflection. Just as I almost face-plant a mirror, I hear a dark chuckle. My head snaps up, the tone of the laugh sounding evil. A spark of adrenaline ignites, pumping the chemical into my heart and kicking up the speed further. Did an employee dressed as a monster sneak in here to mess with me? I wouldn't hold it past them. They're known to follow people around and terrorize them. Swallowing the lump in my throat, I turn to find my bearings. If there is a creepy monster in here with me, I'd rather they not get close enough that I have to look at 1,000 of their reflections. Finding my way past the mirror that almost gave me a nose job, I start ahead again.
Little mouse.
The whisper seems to travel from every direction. My limbs lock, not sure if my imagination is playing tricks on me or if Zaid is actually here. Unfreezing, I force myself to keep moving, hoping I'm just imagining things.
Where are you, little mouse?
I gasp, the deep voice closer. Another sinister chuckle echoes. And Jesus Christ, this man is capable of evil. No one sane sounds like that. Squeezing my eyes shut, I take 3 deep, calming breaths, trying to ease my racing heart. He's fucking with me. Trying to scare me, and it's fucking working when I'm trapped in a maze of mirrors and he's laughing like a goddamn lunatic. He can't just let me have my night, can he? For once, I didn't think about him and my conflicting feelings. And though Zaid doesn't quite scare me as much, except for maybe right now, the feelings he brings out of me certainly do. Maybe if I keep quiet, he won't find me. Restarting my path, I quicken my pace until I'm speed-walking through the labyrinth of mirrors. I have no idea how far I am, but I don't even think I've made it halfway through. It's right then that I see the first image of Zaid reflected back at me. Dressed in all black, with his scarred face hidden deep in his hood. I gasp, whipping around just to find more of his reflection. He's not behind me, but he's somewhere close. Stop it! I bite out, fear constricting my chest. He doesn't answer, and of course the fucker doesn't listen. I'm caught in a whirlwind, my body continuously moving in circles, desperate to pin exactly where he is.
You all alone, baby girl?
I swallow. Obviously. I whisper, still searching for where he is. It feels like I shouldn't have said that.
No one here to save you?
A shot of anxiety hits me in the chest. Why the hell would I need to be saved, Zaid? You going to hurt me? It's then he lifts his head. Just enough for me to provide a view of his mouth. A wicked smirk is stretched across those lips. I try to remember that he won't hurt me. He was just in my bed a week ago, sad and vulnerable. By the time I opened my eyes in the morning, he was gone, and I haven't heard from him since. But my brain is having trouble connecting who he is now to who he was then. Because now, he looks savage.
I'm going to ruin you,
He corrects. I take a step back, a lump forming in my throat. His image moves, his body walking in a different direction. Is he coming closer? I can't tell. I take another step back, the adrenaline in my system rising to dangerous levels. He's scaring me.
Run.
He growls. My lungs constrict at the guttural command.
If I catch you, I fuck you.
Eyes widening, I listen, my body catapulting into action. I run. In here, I'm completely vulnerable to him. I'm well and truly trapped in the spider's web, and the son of a bitch is poisonous. His reflection follows me everywhere I go. There were a few times I was convinced I'd truly lost him, seeing nothing but my own image. And then he'd step out from somewhere, crushing my hopes. After a few minutes, I'm out of breath. The adrenaline and fear are getting to me. My chest is constricted too tight, my lungs reduced to strings and no longer capable of holding oxygen. I'm lost and trapped with a very dangerous man who is going to absolutely devastate me. I don't think I'm running from him anymore, but rather from the person I'm going to be when he's finished with me. I was ready to give myself over to him when he emerged from my balcony doors and came to me with a heavy heart. The man put some type of spell on me because when he was hurting, all I wanted to do was make him feel better. Give myself over to him if that's what would help. But I know that I would have woken up the next day and hated myself because I would have slept with a stalker, a murderer, and a man who has forced himself on me on several occasions. I would have slept with a man who doesn't respect my boundaries, my personal space, or the word no. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that's exactly what's about to happen. How do I accept that? How do I toss away the moral compass that's been directing my entire life? For a man that I should loathe, but I don't. I just don't. He's all those things, but he's also one of the most admirable men I've ever met. The devotion and passion he has for saving women and children stolen away from their homes and lives. He's doing something massive in the world and making an impact in a substantial way. I can't even begin to put into words the way he makes me feel. He's such a fucking oxymoron, contradicting in the most agonizing ways. And despite his cracked moral compass, I feel safe with him. Even now, when fear is rewiring my brain. I stop running, panting heavily. Hopeless. That's what running from Zaid is. Fucking hopeless. Chest pumping, I wait for him to find me. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to outrun him. My only chance of escaping is to somehow incapacitate him and then try to run. A laugh bubbles up my throat. He's been training me to do just that, right? My shadow has been giving me the means to protect myself. Against him. Hot breath tickles my ear, sending chills down my spine. I close my eyes, biting my lip until I taste copper when I feel his body press into my back. He keeps his hands to himself for now, but I know that won't last much longer. It's no secret how much he loves to touch me without my permission. I'll scream, I threaten in a breathless whisper. His breath fans across my neck as I feel him lean down. Soft lips brush the shell of my ear. Shivers cascade down my spine like a raging waterfall.
That's such a good little girl,
he replies. I whip around, ready to tell him off, but not a syllable escapes when my lips are captured between his the second I come face to face with him. Instinctively, I bite down on his bottom lip. A deep groan swirls through my mouth, spurring me to bite harder. Explosions riot from our connected mouths, along with the flavor of mint and a hint of smoke. He tastes delicious, and I want him out of my mouth. As if hearing my thoughts, his palm reaches up to wrap around the back of my head, his fingers tangling in the depths of my hair and pulling me impossibly closer. And then I do something really stupid. I suck his bottom lip into my mouth, lost in the taste of him. The feel of his lips against mine. Realizing what I'm doing, I release his lip, attempting to pull away from him. His mouth is a drug, and just like the real thing, it causes me to make incredibly stupid decisions. He doesn't let me go, and instead returns the sentiment, sucking my lip into his mouth and delivering his own sharp nip. I gasp from the pain, granting him access and allowing him to invade my mouth. My pussy responds in kind, throbbing from the feel of his tongue. Memories bombard me, remembering what that tongue felt like sliding against my clit. An involuntary moan escapes, and the second he tastes my body's betrayal, his kiss turns fierce. He completely consumes me, sucking and licking my lips and tongue in a way I've never experienced. I'm helpless to stop him, just as I am helpless to fight it. Another growl pings through my mouth, my only warning to his next move. He grabs my waist and twirls me right up against a mirror, pinning me against the cool glass as his body molds into mine.
Such a good fucking girl,
he praises against my mouth before wrapping my swollen lips into another bruising kiss. Breathless, I force my head away, sucking in precious oxygen. He clamps my cheeks between his large hand, growling against me.
Give me those fucking lips.
He snarls, forcing his tongue back into my mouth. My hands wedge between our bodies, traveling up his stomach, bulging with muscles to his firm chest. Roughly, I push him away, our lips separating with a loud smack. Wait. Stop. I pant, my mind foggy and discombobulated.
What did I say?
He demands sharply. His mismatched eyes capture my gaze in a drug-inducing hold. It's hard to look away when I feel like I'm looking into the eyes of a predator. He is a predator. What? I breathe, still dizzy from the kiss.
If I catch you, I fuck you.
He repeats slowly, gravel lining his throat. My mouth opens, but the words are slow to release. You're not fucking me. I refuse, pushing against his chest harder. His lips whisper across my cheek, trailing along my jawline before dropping down to my neck.
Because you're afraid you'll like it too much,
he concludes, before delivering a sharp nip on my neck. My back arches, goosebumps rising on my skin from the chills.
Because you know that you'll become as addicted as I am.
No, I deny in a whisper. Because I don't want you to. He lifts his head, a knowing smirk on his lips.
So you're going to be my bad girl tonight? Lie to my face and act like your pussy isn't aching to be filled up with my cock.
I feel the blood rush to my cheeks, a mix of anger and embarrassment. Not everything has to come down to physical attraction. I respond, finally. Maybe my body wants you, but up here... I tap my temple. Doesn't. He nods his head, slowly, his eyes flitting across my face in contemplation. He takes a step back, leaving me bereft and cold. It feels like a black shroud encasing the sun on a hot summer day, just a sudden bone-chilling cold. He grabs my hand and pulls me away from the mirror. He spins me until I'm looking at the countless reflections that surround us, echoing our image from every angle. I watch him through the mirror. He presses his body back into mine, his warmth soaking into my pores once more. My eyes settle on one mirror, our eyes clashing through the glass. Slowly, he bends down until his mouth is right at my ear, his eyes never straying from mine.
You want to know why I love the House of Mirrors?
He murmurs in my ear, eliciting sparks throughout my nerve endings. His voice is full of dark promises and dangerous beginnings. I swallow thickly. Why? I whisper.
Look around you.
He commands softly. Hesitantly, I pull my eyes away from his, dragging my gaze across the dozens of mirrors.
What you're seeing now is what I see every day. No matter how far I run, how hard I try to escape you, you're everywhere I go. You're everything I see. Loving you is like being trapped in a house of mirrors, little mouse. And I've never felt so at home while being so lost inside you.
My breath hitches, my eyes snapping back to his. My heart tripped and fell down a flight of stairs the second the word love came out of his mouth. A word he tossed out so casually, I'm not sure if it's a confession or not. I don't think you know what love is, I whisper. He grunts with amusement.
I don't think anyone does, baby. Love is an enigma, and it's redefined every time someone says it.
I frown. All I can feel is disappointment. Not because of what he said, but because of how fucking easy it was for him to accomplish what he set out to do. Just like he wants, a reckless, impulsive feeling consumes me. All I ache to do is let him have me. So many nights where he'd sneak into my bed and take advantage of my weakness, whether the weakness was in my body or brain. He used that against me time and time again. But he never took it all the way, and every morsel inside my being has been waiting for this moment, anticipating it. I'm dying to deny him, yet I have to fight my body from turning and pulling him into me. Maybe just this once. I bite my lip, rolling the bruised and abused lip between my teeth. He watches me closely, studying every movement, like he's trying to interpret a dead language hidden in the lines of my body. Are you only saying that because you think it'll work? I ask, my voice husky and uneven. His mouth is still angled towards my ear, with his eyes locked onto mine. Slowly he shakes his head, his face severe and gaze intense. You're telling the truth? I push my voice, hitching with the desperation for him to just lie and tell me no.
Yes, Adeline.
He whispers. I close my eyes, resignation seeping from my pores. Sensing the change, his hand travels across my flat stomach. I tense beneath his touch, goosebumps rising on my skin. His long fingers latch onto the zipper of my hoodie, slowly pulling it down, parting the material at a painful pace. The sound of the metal teeth separating disrupts the sound of my erratic breathing. Don't torture me, I bite out, anger flashing from his deliberately slow pace. A wicked smile flashes, and even the mirror can't lessen the cruelty.
Poor little mouse.
He taunts.
You're sadly mistaken if you thought I was going to make this anything but painful.
And then he does her in the mirror house. Come on now. We already know where this is going. This man has already done crazy shit to her in a private movie theater. Some crazy shit in the house. We already know where this is going, man. You know, don't even gotta watch next week. You know, we already know what's gonna happen. They're gonna do it in the house mirrors. Oh, man. Whoop! I forgot to mention that they're at the little haunted fair thing. I totally forgot about that. But yeah, that's pretty much where these two chapters took place. But yeah. Oh man, that is chapters 28 and 29. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Man, we'll get back next week and we'll be doing chapters 30 and 31. We're almost done with this book. We are probably like 70% done with it or something like that. So we are almost done. There is a book 2 of it. I'm going to kind of see if that's something you guys want to do. I'll just see if that's something you guys want to do. If not, we can always just change the book and then come back, to Haunting Adeline book 2. So we'll see about that though. But without further ado, thank you guys so much. I love you guys. Patreon.com/MyAssholePodcast. If you want to get an exclusive episode every single Friday, as well as being able to send in your scenarios to get featured on Tuesday and Sunday shows. I will fix the link tree so that way everything works. And if you guys want to have a playlist to all of the Haunting Adeline episodes, that playlist will be down in the description. I'll make sure it's its own link. That way, just in case the link tree link is still not working, I will go ahead and have that link for you guys. That way you can have that there. And that way you guys can catch up on everything that we've done as far as Haunting Adeline. TikTok and Instagram, follow us on there. If you guys want bite-sized clips of the show, best parts, and YouTube, go ahead and go over there. Subscribe, even if you don't watch over on YouTube. That helps out a lot. If you're primarily an audio listener, go ahead and rate the podcast. That helps, as well as downloading helps a lot too. Thank you guys so much. I love you all, and peace.